Hi guys. Let's my bad, I'm talking on mute. Cool. Hi guys. Let's start with the session. In the last session, we have covered that who developed Python, right? Who was the owner of Python and in which year the Python has been most popular language, then why it has been more crazy the Python is. Then we have covered why the Python is important and we have compared the Python with other programming languages, right? Specifically we have compared with Java, and we have seen that there are multiple difference in between both of the languages. That is the reason we use Python in our network automation journey. So then we have studied how to install Python in our system, as well as we have studied how to install the Pycharm in our system. So what is Pycharm and all? We have studied that it is just IDE. It's a way to develop or way to run our code which is more compatible with the Python. So hence we are using Pycharm. Then we have studied the introduction part. So what is my interpreted language? Why Python is interpreted language? And we have also seen the difference with the C language as well. Then we have seen that how the Python code has been stored. And if you are importing something, the Python code will now going to store in the coder file, right? The bytecode file .pyc file, and multiple time that pyc file will not going to be run if there is any changes in the file. Then we have seen the interactive part, why the Python is very interactive, and what is the why the Python supports object-oriented programming language. Now, then it's a simple one. Quickly go to the slide. So we have seen the normal program, how to write the Python code, Python file, right? So what are the comments in Python for single line comments, multiple line comments? We have seen that. Then we we have printed the how to a simple statement like the first statement like hello world, how to print that we have seen. Then we have seen the particular format, that how this particular syntax gets printed and why it's printing like that. So our key point was the Python is running line by line. Now then we have seen the quotation, as I told you earlier as well. So quotation doesn't matters in Python. If you want to write single quote in the parent, that is also fine. Double quote is also fine. Triple quote is also fine in Python. Now the blank line, I told you that blank line simply Python pass or ignores it, right? The Python will ignore that line, right? And the interpreter will consider the next line below it. Now today's our topic is, guys, variable, right? So let me put the slideshow and then I'll start with the variable. So guys, variable, it's a very important part. What is meant by variable? First, from that we are going to start. So variable is simply a box, right? A memory allocation which has been stored into the Python is meant by variable. So whatever data, right? So let's say at the first class or at the second class, let's consider that variable is just a box which has been stored into the memory, right? So there are few types, right? There are few methods, or you can say few key points to declare that variable in the Python, guys. So first is there are no commands for declaring the variable. So just like if you have a look, or if you know C language, like C language, in the C language we need to assign, declare that variable first. Let's say I'm writing a variable, right? Let's say A is a variable, right? So for A, I need to tell first which type of variable is this. I need to initialize those variable. Then I can write. But in Python, as Python is a very smart language, guys, we need to declare that variable, right? I'll also tell you in the I'll explain this point in the next slide. Now variable name must start with the letter or underscore character. That is the very important part, guys. So variable name should start with alphanumeric. It could be like A1, it could be B1, it could be AB, right? It could be like underscore C, underscore A, anything. It could be start with underscore as well, but it will not going to start with like 1C, right? 1C will not be there. This is not the valid variable, right? So how to write variable? So it could be any alphanumeric character, or it should start with underscore. It's the valid variable. So question, definitely you're gonna get question in interviews, like it could be the MCQ type of question, that which is the valid variable among the list. So you just need to keep in mind. So what are the format, or what are the basic format that developers follows if they want to write variables? So they only follows the format, like let's say I want to declare variable as alpha, right? I want to declare the variable as alpha. So being a developer, you need to follow the format as alpha, which is a small, see, a should be small, and I'll also write alpha, let's say a is equal to something, right? I'll tell you what is my is equal to and what is the value that we are going to assign, but this is just a format of assigning the variable, right? Either you can just simply write alpha as well is equal to, you can simply write alpha as well is equal to, it doesn't matter, right? Now let's move towards next point. The variable name can only be alphanumeric characters and underscore. We have seen this point. Now variable names are case sensitive. So what is my we all know what is case sensitive is, but in Python, as I explained, that Python is a case sensitive language. What is my case sensitive is, means that here if we are going to assign some value, let's say age, let's say age, right? So Python will now consider these three variable as three different boxes, right? Same boxes means it's a memory allocation, right? So Python will gonna consider these three variables in a three different boxes, right? Three different allocations. So if you're going to assign 20, 30, 40, so Python will now store the variable as age 20. This small age will be 30 and capital age will be 40, right? So in this way, we used to assign the variable in Python, right? This is the simple format to assigning the variable. Now, the thing is, like, we have studied what is variable. It's a simply memory allocation where we are going to store the data, right? So let's move ahead with the other slides now. Now, how to create, we have seen what is variable, what are the key points to write the variable. Now, how to create the variable, right? So guys, for creating the variable, the syntax is similar. You just need to write the name of variable. Let's say count is the variable. I'm just writing count is equal to 10, right? So now here the point that you need to take care of, equal to. What is this equal to is doing? So always keep in mind, equal to means whatever data which is in the right, it will get assigned to the left, right? It is meant by equal to, guys. Always keep in mind, whatever you are writing in the right, it will get assigned to the left. Do not forget this line to entire up till the end of the class, right? I'm gonna ask this because we're gonna use equal to a lot of times in our network automation. So if you're writing count is equal to 10, it means that Python will store the variable which name has count and the data which I have assigned 10, right? So it will gonna assign to that count variable, and there should be some ID, guys. So it should be 101. Right now I'm not explaining why ID, how the ID is get assigned and all. We have a separate session for it. Just want to tell you that this is the type where the Python will going to store the data. So name will be count, the data will be 10, and this is the ID of that variable. Now, which type of data we can store, that we're gonna see. Now, second type is, let's say I can write miles is equal to 15.2. Right, this is also the variable, this is also this is also the variable which name has miles. So what I'll do, what the Python will do, Python will create the memory allocation which names as miles, and the 15.2 data will get assigned to the miles data. Now other thing, let's say name is equal to Dheeraj, name is equal to Dheeraj, right? Now you get the question that why we are not writing double quote over here, not here, why we are writing over here. So it's a type of data types, guys. We're gonna learn in the next slide. Simply, I just want to show you that how we can save the or declare the variable. So here as well, the same format we're gonna use. Name will be the name of that variable, and data will be Dheeraj. It gets assigned, and ID could be anything. Right, this is the way we used to declare the variable, right? So let's check, or let's do this practically, and then we'll get back how to declare and how to use this variable, guys. So let's do it. Let's use another code. Now here what I'll write is count is equal to 10, right? Now here again I'll write miles is equal to 15.5, 15.2, let's say, and here I'll just write name is equal to Dheeraj, right? This is the way. Now yesterday, or not yesterday, in the last session we have seen that how we can print something, right? We have seen how to print this data, right? What is the syntax of print that we have seen? What is the how we can print hello world we have seen? Simply here as well, if I need to print something, let's say I need to print the variable, the name variable, right? I'll write the same. I'll just write variable. So I'm getting the same. I'm writing in a double quote. But guys, one key factor you need to understand over here, if you need to print simple data, right? Simple string. What is string? We will now study. Simple words. Then you need to write double quote, right? But if you need to print data inside the variable, so here I told you what is the how the Python is gonna store this variable. Count equal to 10, miles is equal to 15.2, name is equal to Dheeraj. Right? So if you want to print the data inside this variable, then this double colon not needed, right? If you want to print the data inside this variable, then double colon not needed. You just need to write print, and here I want the data in count. It means I'll just write count. If you write count, guys, see, you will get the data inside that variable, right? I hope you understood up till this part, right? So if you want to print the data in miles, not to print data in miles, I'll just write miles. And if I run this, I'll get data in miles, right? Similar to that, if I want data in name, I'll simply write name, right? I'll get Dheeraj. If I write n, if I write small n, right? So this will give me, let's run it first. See guys, this will give me the error, right? This is giving me the error. What is the error? The name has not defined. What is mean? The Python is case sensitive language. Python is case sensitive language. And that is the reason it is showing that the name, we don't know what is name, right? Python don't know what is the name that you have assigned, because we have variable, we have assigned as capital N. We have assigned as capital N. I hope I am clear up till this part. Let's move ahead now. So let's move to our slides. Now assigning the creating the variable we have seen. Now this is the important part, guys. Now let's consider that you have A is equal to B is equal to C is equal to 1, right? In this way as well, you can assign the data, right? You can assign the common data to the variable. So what Python will do? Python will store A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, C is equal to 1. Is it? If you think like that, okay, we have a data 1, and we have just seen if we are writing A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, C is equal to 1, and we have just studied that Python will now store each of the data, will assign like this. So you are wrong. One thing I just wanted to tell you is the assignment is similar to this one, guys. So if you can write A equal to B equal to C equal to 1, is similar to this: a equal to 1, b equal to 1, c equal to 1. Right? This thing, I hope you're clear about it. Now, second thing, Python is a smart language. So Python identifies that if the same type of data is here, right? The 1, 1, 1 is the same type of data, right? Then why should we use, or why should we utilize this 2 extra memory allocation for storing the same data? So instead of this allocating b equal to 1 or c equal to 1, what Python do? Python will allocate memory as a, b, c, and 1. The id will be only 1, guys. Right? id will be only 1 because the data inside ABC variable is same. Right? That is the reason that why we have stored the data like this, and that is the reason why Python is a smart language. Now, another way to declare the variable, we'll see now. So other way to declare the variable is, guys, a comma b comma c is equal to 1 comma 2 equal to John. Right? So this is, in this way as well, you can assign the variable. Either you can write like this: a equal to 1, b equal to 2, c equal to John. This is similar as this, right? So as the data inside that variable is different, similarly the same operation will gonna execute. A is equal to 1, b is equal to 2, c is equal to John. Right? So this is the way to assign that variable, and in this way the Python will store that variables. That is, it's called as multiple assignment. It is known as how we can assign multiple values to the multiple variables. So these are the way to assign the values to the variable. Right? I'm gonna take your questions after a few minutes, right? And then we will discuss how if there are any issues with the variables part. Let's move ahead with our slides now. So multiple assignment we have studied. Now, what are data types? So guys, it's a general term. In a general term, data types are the data which we are going to store inside the variable, right? So which type of data that we are going to store into the variable is known as data type. It's the simplest definition of data type, right? Again, I'll tell you, the type of data that you are going to store in the variable is known as data type. So Python supports 3 data types, guys. First is int data type. What is my int? Int is a simply integer data type. Now, what is integer data type? Integer data type means it's construct an integer number from integer literal, a float literal, by rounding down to the previous whole number literal, or a string literal. Don't worry about it. Let's understand by this what is my integer data type. So integer data type is similar to the R number line, guys. We all knows number line. We have studied number line as well, right? So up to the infinity, here as well, 1, 2, 3, up to the infinity. So whatever digits are on the number line, it comes under integer, right? So if you are writing a is equal to 1, b equal to 2, c equal to -3, these all are integer data type. These all are integer data type, right? So you can even write a equal to 1000. This is integer data type. A equal to -2000, integer data type, right? So all the data types which lies on a number line is known as integer data type, right? Now, what is the second data type that we have? The second data type we have is float data type. Now, float data type construct a float number from an integer literal, a float literal, or a single literal. It means that any decimal number, right? Any decimal number consider as, or you can say any decimal integer consider as float data type. Consider as float data type. It means what? If a is equal to 12.5, If a equal to minus 5.2, right? If a equal to minus 200.3, right? Anything which stores dot, or let's say in the decimal format, is known as float data type, right? Now, how to confirm, right? It could be like we are assigning this 12.5, but how to confirm that this is the float data type only, or this is the integer data type only, that we're gonna see now. So how you can confirm, like, let's say here, if we have we have count, right? In count we have which number type of data now? Tell me. It's a integer data type now, right? So how to check that the data inside that count, it's integer or float? So the simple function, inbuilt function we have, inbuilt function, we're gonna see what they, we have a specific slide for inbuilt function, but just wanted to tell you, inbuilt functions are those that we can store, or we can check that which type of data that is stored into that variable, right? So that inbuilt function name is type, right? If you write type, and in the curly braces, if you're writing count, right? If you're writing type and count, let's print this out, you will get class integer. It means the type of data that we have stored into this count is a integer type of data, right? Similarly, if you want to check for this miles, let's print it out, is a float type of data. I hope I am clear with integer and float now. So, and also guys, just observe one thing, right? Okay, let's complete the other data type, and then I'll gonna come up with this part. Now the third number, or we can say the third part, or third type of data, no name as string, right? The third type of data name as string, right? See, string represent as str, guys. So don't worry about what is str when we use str and all. Just keep in mind there are three types of data in Python. First is integer, second is float, third is string, right? So we have studied integer and float. Let's move to string now. So string includes, first just study the definition. Construct a string from a wide variety of data type, including strings, integer literals, and float literals. It means strings include integer as well and float as well, right? This thing you need to keep in mind. So guys, I hope you like someone of you has know about what is ASCII is. I'll tell you what is ASCII. ASCII is American Standard Code Information Interchange. So guys, we whatever data that, let's say if you're writing print, right? Let's say if you're assigning some value, let's say I'm assigning zeros to the variable, right? So how Python will gonna store this value? The Python will gonna store this value into the ASCII code format, right? So this ASCII code, we have 128 ASCII characters. We have 128 ASCII characters. It means that either, guys, if we are assigning the value like this as well, let's say I am assigning SIA, right? So the value of this SIA will get stored into the ASCII format, where if you can Google it out, what is the ASCII value for capital A, right? So what is the ASCII value of small a, right? So already this ASCII value has been defined. So all the ASCII values will, this 128 characters, right? So this 128 characters include A to Z, capital A to capital Z, small a to small z, right? Again, number 0 to 9. This number is also have a unique ASCII value, guys, right? Even though special characters at the rate, hash, right? These are all the string data type. And that is the reason it is showing that string is also included integer and float. So see, this is also integer as well as this include all the decimal values as well, right? So in this way, Python stored the data, of the string in the ASCII value format. Then how to write strings? If you want to assign some string value to the variable, guys, you need to assign that value into double quote. You need to assign that value into double quote. Let's say, what is the string value? It could be any name, right? It could be any integer, right? It could be any float, any value you can assign, right? So this is all the values are string values. How to prove it? Let's check in our Google Colab. Let's prove that. Let me do it full screen. Cool. So let's add one more code over here. Now just check, or I think we just need to write the type, right? So how to check the type? Simply write type of this name. So we are getting as a string, right? So this is the way that you can put or you can print the type of that string. Again, I told you that this, if it is not writing in a double quote, this is integer or float, right? If we are not writing in a double quote, it means this is an integer data type. You are not writing in the quotes, it means it is a float data type. Let's say I can write v is equal to 10, right? And if I put or if I print type of v, guys, let's say what is the output that we're gonna get. See, now I'm getting this v type of data is a string data because I'm writing that value inside the quote. Then when to use string and when not to use strings, right? So the thing is like, if guys you want to do some mathematical operations, let's say addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, at that time you can use the data from integer or float. Let's say I want to print 10 into 10. Let's print over here. If I want to print count multiplied by count, right? So what this will do, this is a multiplication operator, guys. We have a slide for operator. At that time we'll study in the details, right? So just wanted to tell how when to use integer, when to use string. So if you write count is into count, if we print that, we'll get 100, right? Simple multiplication we're gonna do. If we replace this count with miles, you replace this count with miles, you'll get the same. See, we are now getting the float data, right? So this question is also comes into interview, that if we multiply float with integer, what will be the result? Will it be float or will it be integer? So always keep in mind, what if you are multiplying integer data with float, you will get result in the float only, right? Now let's print like this. I think I have sent you the homework that you just need to print the data like this. You just need to print data like this, equal to, and then welcome to SIA, right? You just need to print data like this. So most of us, right? Most of us, like whatever that we have studied in the last session, most of us has completed that task. Now let's move ahead as we are studying right now, and let's move ahead with something like advanced, how to print this technique in a single go, right? For that, we just need to study one operator, right? I told you earlier as well, so we have a separate class for different operators, but these are the main operators, or I can say this operator we are going to use each and every class. So that is the reason I'm considering over here. So I want to show you the magic of plus operator, right? Or so what is the magic of this plus operator? Arithmetic operator, to be frank, that it's not a plus operator, it's an arithmetic operator. So arithmetic addition operator will give you two things. It will add, it will provide, one magic is addition and second magic is concatenation, right? So it will add it will concat it. So now which operation it will perform when it will perform addition, when it will perform concatenation. So always keep in mind, if the data, the both data, obviously if we want to use plus operator, there should be two data, right? So if this both data are integer or float, then it will perform addition, right? If the both of the data, both of the operands, right, this is known as operands, guys, right? So both of the operands are integer or float, then the addition, this operator will perform addition. But if that data is string, it will perform concatenation. What is my concatenation? Is simply attaching the same data. Let's say, let's play with the code, or let's say understand this by code. So here, let's consider that if I have a is equal to welcome to SIA, and here in the B variable I'm writing I love Python 3, right? Here, and as well as let's write C equal to 5 and D is equal to 8.9, right? Here, let's first print C plus D. Let's first print C plus D. So whatever the data that I'll get the addition of this both of float and integer, right? Another thing, if we print A plus B, let's check the magic of this plus operator now. See, I'm now getting welcome to SIA, and see, this I love Python 3 is getting attached at the end of A, right? That is the magic of plus operator. But there is a drawback of print over here, guys. What print will say, I can only print either integer or float or either string. What is meant by that? Let's say if I want to print the result, like if I want to print a result like, let's say, let me if I want to print result like this, welcome to SIA, and I want to print this 5 as an integer at the end, right? So guys, let's try to print this out. Let's try to print this out. Here, what is the syntax? Simple. Welcome to SI is stored in which variable? It's stored in A variable. So I'll simply write A addition operator, and let's try to attach, or let's try to concatenate C. Right? I told you, when the magic of plus operator we have just studied, when it will do addition if the both operands are integer or float. When it will do concatenation if both operands are string. But I didn't tell you that if the one of the operand are int or float and another operand is string, then what will gonna happen? Let's print this out. See, it is showing the error that can only concatenate string, right? Not int. So you just need to keep in mind that print will only support either integer or float, or all should be string. Then how to print this result? We have to use typecasting, right? That we're gonna see in the next slide. Until this part, I believe we all should, like, there should be no issues in the each and every concept, right? I'm gonna take this question after 5 to 10 minutes, then we'll stop this recording and then we'll start it thus. Now, let's move ahead with slides now. So numbers, I believe we have completed these slides. So what is my numbers? Numbers could be any of the format. It could be float, it could be integer, it could be float, and it could be what? It could be complex, real and imaginary numbers. And we have also seen that how if you want to check the type of this variable, which type of data is stored into this num, we have to use type. We have to use type function, right? Small t. Type function to check which type of data is stored into that variable, right? Let's move ahead. Now the important part, guys. Do not ever miss this part in our entire network automation class, name as strings, right? So we have studied that there are three types of data in our Python. First is integer. First type of data is integer type of data. Second is float type of data. Third is string type, right? So we have studied when we use int, when we use float, when we use string, right? So there are few functions that string supports, because as I already told you, string includes both integer as well, float as well, right? So strings in Python are identified as a contiguous set of characters represented in the quotation mark. I told you, if you want to represent any string, you just need to put double quote or single quote, any quote, right? Because quotation doesn't matter in Python, right? You can write as Dheeraj, you can write as double quote Dheeraj, you can write a triple quote Dheeraj, right? And one more thing, if you want to write more than single line comment, guys, let's say if I want to print a is equal to, let's say I want to assign the value of Dheeraj is a Python instructor, right? So if this I want to assign like this, you can write this thing in a triple quote. I told you, right? So at the first session only we have studied this. Dheeraj is a Python instructor. You can store this and complete the triple quote, and then you can print this. You'll get the result as this only, right? Similarly, you can even write in the double quote. You can write single line as Dheeraj. You can write single quote Dheeraj. Everything will be fine in Python. Now, Python allows for either pairs of single or double quotes, right? Subsets of string can be taken using slice operator. Now the other concept come into picture, name as slicing, right? What is slicing and why it is important? So slicing means we need to slice the existing string. We need to slice the existing string. It means by slicing. So let's say if I have a data called welcome to SIA, right? From this string, I have assigned this data to a variable. I assign this data to a variable. And if I want to, I just want to slice, I just want this SIA from this welcome to SIA. I just want this part. I just want this part. For that, we just need to understand two things. First is indexing. Right? So let me